Wow, guys, the Springbok team has been released, and there are some big changes actually. A massively changed team from last week, and there's a few surprises in here. Obviously, it's going to be a huge game this week in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, and I got the team right here. And there's a few names I'm surprised to see, and a few names I'm surprised not to see. So obviously the front row, Bowen Fenton, Malcolm Marks, and Thomas Dutoy, which is stock standard, what we basically thought was going to happen. On the bench, Johan Grobler, Gerard Steenkamp, and Wilkelo. We spoke and said that that's a very good bench front row to have, especially having that full Blue Bulls front row coming on in the second half, really having that cohesion and making a big impact. Before I carry on, let me show you guys where I am. I'm in Mossel Bay right now. So we're doing a bit of a travel through South Africa right now. So yeah, we are on the way to the Eastern Cape to do a safari. We just did Cape Town and Franschhoek, so it's been amazing. Because I live in England. We're going back to England next week. But yeah, the views here are incredible. But then in the locks we have Ibn Etzebeth and Ruan Norkia, which is what we expected. I mean, Ruan Norkia is having one of his best seasons. He's having a breakout season, and he probably is the best lock that the Springboks have at the moment. Ibn Etzebeth will be looking to have a big game. He hasn't had a big game in a few games. It's been a while, but he's a good player. He's an amazing player for the Springboks, and at line-out time he's key for us. So he'll be looking to have a massive game this week, especially after the comments he made saying that he really wants to get this win for the Springboks. Reserve lock on the bench, RG Snyman, playing his 50th cap in Ireland, near where his club plays. It's a big game for him. The Irish fans love him, so that's going to be mega for him. He's the one guy we really, really need on the bench. I feel like it isn't really a bomb squad without RG Snyman. He really brings that energy and that gameplay that we need, and he's been impeccable this year. At number 6, we have Sia Khaleesi as captain. We knew that was going to happen. Number 7, Pieter-Steph du Toit, one of the nominees for World Player of the Year. And number 8, Jasper Visser. Probably, in my opinion, right now, the most important loose forward in our team, just by the way he's playing right now. I feel like when Jasper Visser plays, he really changes the game for the Springboks, and he really adds a different dimension of physicality, and his ball-carrying ability is just world class. Then Pieter-Steph du Toit is going to obviously put in a mega performance, a massive shift, especially with all his tackle stats, dominant hits. He's going to really want to have to put a big performance in, especially if he has a big game. He could be winning World Player of the Year for the third year now, for his third time. That could be incredible. Sia Khaleesi being the captain, we knew that was going to happen, and Sia's the type of guy when these big games is really the games where he steps up physically. So that's going to be interesting. 9 and 10 we have Kobus Reinach and Sasha Feinberg and Ngomezulu. That's really been our starting 9 and 10 combo throughout the year. I think they've found out that those are the two they want to start going forward, especially in the big games. So those two have been very big for us and a very good combination, which I think they'll just keep growing together, especially at the Stormers. So that's massive to see. I was surprised to not see Sasha in the World Player of the Year nominations. I think he just deserved it, but don't know what the reasons are, but he's had a massive year. Now this is where it gets interesting. On the wings we have Cheslin Colby, which we expect. Normally he's been playing 14, but he's playing 11 this week. And number 14 we have Kanan Moody, coming in for the likes of Kurtley Orense and Ethan Hooker. That's quite an interesting one. I think that's a bit of a rewarding form of Kanan Moody. He's been in outstanding form recently. He's been in incredible form. He's just been all over. I mean, there was some discussions of whether he would be playing 13 in Jesse Creel's place, but I feel like their feel for this game, keeping Dale Lindy and Creel together is key. And talking about the centres, I think that is true. Keeping Dale Lindy and Creel together, they really have a lot of cohesion. They've been massive the last few years together, so I think that's really stock standard. That was probably two of the first names on the team sheet if you were really thinking about it, because they are solid together, especially on defense and on attack as well. They have so much cohesion. They are playing incredible this year. So it's good to see both Jesse Creel and Kanan Moody in the starting lineup. I know Kurtley Orense will be wanting to get that jersey back. It could be a shift in what they think they want in the wings, but Kurtley Orense has not had a bad game in the Springboks ever, to be honest. Kurtley Orense has never had a bad game in a Springbok jersey. That's why I was surprised to not see him, because he's one of my favourite players. I think he's many people's favourite player. He's one of the most consistent backs we have, so not sure if that's injury, not sure if that's pure form, but it's very interesting to see that, and it's good to see that they're rewarding form as well, like Rassie and them are rewarding the form, because Kanan Moody has been solid. He's great under the high ball, he's good on defense. Interesting to see how he's going to switch his mindset, especially on defense, going from 13, where he's been playing majority of the time, to now in the wing. But that's going to be very interesting. Number 15, Damian Willemse, probably my backline player of the year for the Springboks. Between him and Sasha, Damien Willems has had a massive year. He's been incredible. I think him coming back from injury and seeing that Fussy was really taking his spot there and really hammering down that starting 15 jersey, he said no, he's got to take it back, and I think he has. I think in the future I would like to see him starting at 12 and Fussy starting at 15, going far into the future, maybe post World Cup. Obviously he still have plans for Ethan Hooker, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, Damien Willems is a no-brainer to have here, and I think he's going to have another massive game. I think if he had this form from earlier on in the season, he would be one of the nominees for World Player of the Year. So I'm shocked. I mean, I think if he carries on this form through the next year, I think he could win it next year. He's honestly been incredible. I mean, most people used to not rate him as their top 3 fullbacks in the world. They would obviously have Ramos, and they would have like Freddie Stewart and those guys. But now having a guy like Willems, he is world class, and he is undoubtedly the best fullback the Springboks have right now. So having him and Fussy there as competition is very healthy competition, especially when it gets to the World Cup with the group stages, when you have more games to play, want to give guys a rest. Those guys would just slot in and out, and it's perfect. Now on the bench, the ones I didn't mention here, you have Kwagga Smith, who's played himself into the jersey this week after that last week's performance. He was mega. They've obviously kept Andre Esterhuizen, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of Andre Esterhuizen going forward. I think Andre Esterhuizen is now going to have a lot more caps, especially off the bench going forward, because he can play centre. He could probably play on the wing if you needed him to, but now he can play loose forward as well, and he's a really good loose forward. So I think 6-2 split, but it can also be a 5-3 split, which is a very, very, very key weapon that Springboks have right now. So any injury can happen in the forwards, and he can slot in, and any injury can happen in the back line, he can slot in, and he can do both very well. But I definitely think Kwagga did earn his place back in the team. He had a massive game last week, and he really showed the coaches that he wants to play this week. So seeing those two come on together with the likes of SG Rugby, Wilco Louw, Gerard Steenkamp and Johan Grobler is going to be an incredible bomb squad. That is pure power right there. They have to gel together, but it's going to be massive. I'd like to see that crop of forwards going forward into the next games next year as well, because I really like that bomb squad there. I really do. Then you have Grant Williams and Moni Lebok. I honestly think the Springboks have found their bench for the World Cup right now. I genuinely believe that the Springboks have found the bench they're looking for. The bench is so solid. I mean, Johan Grobler last week had a massive game. Gerard Steenkamp and Wilco Louw know how to play with him. They know how to play together. Gerard Steenkamp's been massive since he came back. Wilco Louw is probably one of the best props in the world this year behind Ox. Probably the second best prop. SG Rugby always making an impact, keeping the ball alive. He is huge. Kwagga Smith, Andre Esterhuizen, both of them can play in the backline if needed, and both of them are powerful, quick, good with ball in hand. And then you have the likes of Grant Williams, probably the fastest scrum off in the world. He definitely is the fastest scrum off in the world. And Moni Lebok, who changes the game on attack every time he touches the ball and really knows how to close out games now. That bench going forward into the coming years is going to be powerful, and I'm excited to see how that does, because I think if I was a betting man, I would say that is my bench for the World Cup. That if there was a World Cup final being played, that would be the guys I'd have on the bench. If you guys don't agree, let me know in the comments down below. There's a few guys that do agree and a few that don't, so let me know, guys. But yeah, Grant Williams and Moni Lebok, I'm very happy that the Springboks have them there. I thought people were rumbling, there was rumblings about Andre Pollard maybe getting the start or being on the bench, but I kind of thought that Moni Lebok's position there on the bench is sealed. He has a very important role, and the whole dynamic of the team has changed, and especially when Moni Lebok comes on, the whole dynamic of the team changes, and it's very good to see, especially with the likes of Sasha that can move to 12 or move to 15. So I think it's a very powerful Springbok team. I think it's a very, very good team. I think it's one of the best teams they put out this year. Obviously, they'll be missing Ox and Chair and some other guys that have some red card issues, like Lewitt. But I honestly, I'm very, 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 very impressed with this team, and I think it's going to be a very, very good game. Unlucky for the likes of Kurtley Orange and Ethan Hooker, who might have deserved more game time, but they'll get plenty of game time going forward, and I'm excited to see how these guys go against a very strong Ireland team in Ireland. I think this is definitely going to be the match of the weekend. But yeah, guys, I will be doing a preview video where we kind of put our predictions and talk about both teams and put them together and see a combined 23. So that will be the next video, so stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.